Hey, how come you corner me? I've never seen you before. How come strangers think they can corner me? Do you want a chicken to let me go? Do you want candies? Do you want to see me cry until you let me go? What the fuck is it that you want? I stumbled into this situation by accident. Something must have pushed me. Something must have driven me. Freud would be able to explain it. Well, I stumbled into this bar. Some people started to walk over to some chairs. I followed. Once I sat, I shouted for beer. People around me were very anxious. I asked them what it was about. We were about to be hypnotized. It's a show. We were going to be guinea pigs. I sat and thought, what would it be like to be hypnotized and never know about it? Suddenly I started to make the sound of a chicken. I said that I already felt like a chicken. Everybody panicked and fled. Oh, hey, I can make a somersault with my brain. It's easy. You just have to concentrate. You stare and stare until your eyes begin to bulge. And then suddenly your brain jumps and does the somersault. You will feel a little dizzy. Things have to be sorted out again. It happens on its own. Sort of. If you are lucky. Sometimes the world is not anymore what you used to know. In fact, it happens quite often. I can hypnotize myself. I use the mirror. You use the mirror and forget about it. You talk to your reflection as if it was another person. It will start to life on its own. The other might even stare back at you and start to hypnotize you. Then it's your will against the will of this little bugger. You don't want to lose. You will want to show this little bugger who is stronger. You are determined to outstare this little fucker. Listen, I would like you to just move on. Will you? There must be something better to do than just stand there and stare at me. It is a fantastic world out there. Just turn your head and look at it. It's wide open. You can go in any direction you like. You can walk, run and jump. You can even dance through life. It's fantastic over there and even more fantastic over there. Just stop looking at me and turn your head. It will be amazing. Anything can happen anytime. There are colors and there are sounds. You might become a hero. People might love you. One day I hypnotized this crazy chick. She was a mean lecherous bitch. She just wouldn't stop licking my face. She was ugly too. She would hardly stand still. I had a hard time hypnotizing her. I tried to tell her that she was a nice and pretty girl. She was supposed to dream of princes in shining armors who would eventually come to her rescue. She should be reading poetry and sing and dance. I told her that she had long hair and that it needed constant brushing. I told her that she would always hear sweet music in her ears, but instead she jumped all over me and ate me up. As I was not wearing glasses, there was nothing to spit out in the end. I will never understand what you expect from me. What is it that you expect? What is it that you want me to do? Do you want me to cry and sob? Do you want me to grin till I faint? Do you want me to be confident until I burst? Do you want me to walk like a rooster? Do you want me to stand on a wooden box and hold a speech about the speechlessness in this world? Do you want me to rap on in random words? What is it that you want? Why do you keep staring at me? Why don't you just move on? One day I walked up to the cashier of the bank. I told her that she was working for a charity. I was the savior who needed only a large amount of money. In fact, I talked about paperwork. I told her to pile it up on her desk and push it towards me. I told her that it was for a good cause. I told her that she gave it away freely and happily. It was in the nature of her job. That's what she was there for. That's what she was paid for. Her boss would be overwhelmed. She would be promoted. She would become in charge of greater responsibilities and larger heaps of paperwork. I would come back eventually and help her to be promoted. But that bitch was resistant. She stared at me and nothing could touch her. She was hard as steel. After a while her boss was standing behind her. He too was resistant. I kept on talking. I kept on hypnotizing. When they broke into a ruthless grin, I realized that I had lost. Oh, I will never understand what people expect from me. Would you want me to kick a dog? Would you want me to strangle a stranger? Would you want me to talk dirty to Granny? Would you want me to scream at a policeman? Would you want me to tell lies? Would you want me to tell truths? What does it matter what I do? Would you want me to just stand still and stare at you? I could stare at you with my eyes closed. You will never notice it. I could outstare anybody with closed eyes. I know it because I've done it. I can do it and you know it. But then you want me to do something else. It never ends. One day it occurred to me that I could hypnotize a frog. So I got myself a bullfrog, placed him on my desk and hypnotized him. It was really easy. The easiest thing I've done in my life. I told him that he was an intellectual. He didn't like the idea that he should be a French intellectual. I thought it was a good joke. But he lectured me in his deep guttural voice about the philosophical aspect of frog eating. I listened reverently. I instantly realized that I was listening to a master. You should have listened to that voice. A voice from beyond. And he kept his eye fixed on me. I could see it all. What a wonderful brain. What brilliant thoughts. I watched his mouth move and uttered the most fantastic words coming straight from his brain. The universal brain of a universal genius. They come around every 500 years or so. And I had the pleasure to listen to him. And I understood all that he said. I became his disciple. I threw myself at his feet. I would have gladly taken the bullet for him. I would have happily died in his presence. I craved for something from him. A thought. A book. His brain. A limb. Listen. I can't stand here all day and tell stories. At the end of the day I don't even remember what I have said. Do you remember everything that I have said? Are you listening at all? Or are you just staring at my eyebrows? What is it that you see in me? What is it that you are staring at? Maybe I remind you of somebody else. Maybe you confuse me with someone in your memories. Maybe I'm the one you always wanted to see. Maybe this is the moment you've always waited for. Maybe you scream in your head. Maybe you fell asleep. Maybe you were waiting for me to move on. What would happen if I tried to sneak away? Would you struggle me to the ground? What would happen if I kicked you in the shin bone? Would you scream at me until I went deaf? What would happen if I stared at you till my brain explodes? Would you pick up the pieces and stuff them back into my skull? What would happen if I would produce random words? Would you start to sing an aria? What would happen if I would cut myself up into pieces? Would you be scientifically interested? Would you look away? Would you begin to dance? Would you tell me a story? Would you sharpen my knife? Would you tell somebody on the cell phone? Would you ask me what's on the television?